Welcome back to the Northside Women's Podcast. I'm Amy. This is Libby.
Hello.
We're together again.
We are. I just said hi to that camera, but it might be 3.
It's fine.
It's okay.
It's fine. Happy summer.
Mm-hmm.
We're nearly to June. We're recording this, and it's
wild.
like end of May. All the graduations have happened.
Memorial Day's over.
Yeah. I'm ready for the stormy season to be over.
Mm-hmm.
Well over that, I'm sure Harlow is too.
Yeah.
But we had an interview scheduled for this morning. Our person is sick, so we are pivoting kind of as we go. I had dinner with a dear friend last night, and she's a school teacher. She has been for years, and then she's also working on a graduate degree, and she has decided to take the summer off of her graduate school work because she said, I'm, quote, hanging on by a thread. Mm-hmm. I went, oh no, but also very relatable. Mm-hmm. So she said to me last night, she said it to me before, but she was like, it's self-care summer. And I was like, oh, fun. Yeah. So we decided we would do kind of an episode themed around that. We know, self-care is kind of a very worldly concept, but we want to talk about ways that you can sort of rest, recharge your spiritual batteries over the summer. A lot of times, I don't know, do you think that your schedule changes a lot over the summer? Like the girls out of school mm-hmm. and all that? I know it's different for everyone. Like everyone's in different life stages. You might live in a place where it's cold this time of year. I don't know, but we just want to throw out the concept. Mm-hmm. This could be for any season, but we figure it's summer. We'll just lean into that. Yeah. Summer here in Texas.
Yeah, and our our weekly programs kind of take a pause in the summer at Northside. So
yeah, everything kind of takes a break, mm-hmm. which is good. I was thinking about okay, if again, kind of a worldly concept, self-care, but also Jesus took time to pray in solitude in the garden. There were times that he needed to get away and have a moment to himself. His human form had the concept that we all do of overwhelm or too much. And I think there were probably a lot of times that he did it anyway, mm-hmm. Because he knew how limited his time was and how important his mission was. But there were still human needs that he had. And so I think that we can look at that from a spiritual perspective. How can we either keep our good spirit, you call them rhythms in mm-hmm. women's ministry, our good spiritual rhythms going during the summer and still get kind of a little R&R in there, or is there a rhythm that it's time to pick up this summer? Do you have space for that in a way that you wouldn't during the busyness of the year or whatever? So yeah.
So that's what we're talking about. When we say self-care, that's what we mean.
Yes, and, again, I feel like it bears repeating. It'll look different for everyone. Mm. Take what you need or don't need. Take what works for you, leave the rest. These are just ideas. Think of your own. It's very easy for me to think about self-care in terms of what I would need or like the people that I'm very close to because I see that. But it's going to look different for everyone. So mm-hmm. there's a lot of good ways to do that. So when you think of the idea of self-care, what comes to mind? Like what's the straight to?
For me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just.
It's a good question. I think, well, it's pretty easy to put it into words, I guess. It's mostly like your own personal. Mm-hmm. What do you need that's going to keep you healthy? Yeah. What are the needs that you need to not neglect to keep you healthy? There.
Caring for yourself, right?
Literally. That's what I think of. I mean, I could give you specifics, but that's like off the top of my head.
When the world talks about self-care, what do you think we think of? Like,
what do you think? Like a face
massage. Yeah. Which, hey, if that's what you need, go for it, right? Yeah. My friend was like, I'm doing more massages this summer. I'm going to get a pedicure. I was like, do it. Do the things. She said, I'm going to read. I thought about people who like to garden or, mm-hmm. Whatever it is, those things that kind of just naturally bring your soul some solace. And again, those are like the Lord created nature, being in nature. There's, of course, when it's 104 degrees outside, take it or leave it. But there's something about connecting in those ways that does give us some rest. But I want to talk about that from a spiritual, like a lens of connecting with the Lord. So one of the, some of these are like tips I might give in therapy even. So good luck.
Getting them for free, people.
Right off the top of the dome too. So that doesn't help. But one thing that I encourage people to do when they're feeling overwhelmed or stressed is to focus on their senses. And some of us have access to all 5 senses, some of us don't, but the ones that you have access to, giving yourself a few moments at a time, maybe a few times a day, just kind of practicing being in touch with that and doing that while talking to the Lord. So if it's, people meanly say online, touch grass. And what they mean is like, you're way up here conceptually, like, let's bring it down to earth. But literally going and putting your feet in the grass.
Oh, I do that.
Right?
And me and Harlow both do that.
And I mean, why? Why do you do that, do you think?
Well, there is this, it's very secular, I guess, the whole idea of grounding.
Well.
But it works. So it literally brings you back down to earth. Like, I don't know, just when we're overwhelmed. I also just love being outside. Yeah. So the idea of taking my shoes off and actually just standing on the ground.
Yeah, the earth.
And really just get in touch with all 5 of your senses. Like breathe, take it in.
Listen,
it just
look.
like kind of helps my brain. I kind of tend to be all over the place, so it helps me.
It kind of calms things, like it brings the speed down, right?
It does.
The noise of all the world. And that is exactly the concept is, are there ways that we can ground ourselves to the present moment? Really, even biblically, we're not promised 10 minutes from now or tomorrow. And the moment we just had is already gone. So having some intentionality to stay in this present moment can lift some of that overwhelm and anxiety. This is really all we have is just this moment, so we're going to focus on that for now. It's not that we never plan for the future. We don't think about anything that's happened. That's fine. But when you're feeling like everything's just too much, the concept is like literally putting your feet on the ground. Sometimes you physically put them on the ground, put them in the grass, or put them on like flat on the ground when you're sitting. But it could be anything else too. If you're in the bird watching age of your life.
I woke up the other morning and Harley she gets up before most of us in the house, usually. She's a morning person.
She's an early riser.
She is, and she loves it. And she told me the other morning, I get up to go make my coffee, and she goes, well, I was watching the birds this morning. It's like, Harlow, I love you. Tell me about the birds.
She's the best. If you don't have a bird app on your phone yet, you're probably in your 20s. Or 30s, or you're just young at heart, which is great too. But
that can be grounded. That can totally be a good healthy rhythm to go watch the birds.
What's funny is we don't really have trees where we're at, and so I followed a social media account where a woman puts out like a bird charcuterie board. And just,
that is adorable.
Just puts it to like really calming music and like identifies the birds. So I'm not even watching my own birds. I'm watching someone else's birds. But it's very calming.
We need to get a bird feeder because we do have trees and we have a ton of different birds that come in and out of our yard.
How fun.
It is fun. They are fun to watch. And usually what's fun about we're going a little tangent.
Right into down the bird rabbit hole.
It does actually. I have had thoughts before. Like even God in Scripture will bring it back to the birds.
Right.
Like I take care of them.
Yeah. How much more?
And if you just watch how they're all, it's like it can sometimes be very spiritual. Actually,
I agree.
You're watching like. Okay, he takes care of that little bird right there.
That's right.
He's taking care of that bird.
If that bird isn't worried about what's going to happen next, what am I doing with my
Why
life?
am I worrying about those things?
First, I don't think the bird has the ability to do that, but even so, that's the point, is God gave us that, that higher level, but we have to be responsible for that then. We have cows on the Smelly's cows just on the other side of our fence, and there's a calf that's maybe a few months old that's really cute, and then there was a brand new, like even smaller, like
baby,
literally running, a calf running and playing, and I'm like, I gotta watch this for hours. I watch it with the dog. We both sit in the window and watch it. Oh, but those things, they can take on a life of their own, obviously. But in those moments, if I'm smart, I'll say, thank you, Lord, for just giving me a moment of just one simple pleasure. I mean, he created the calf, he created the bird, he created all the beauty that we can behold. That's what he created. If you're going on vacation this summer, we were just talking to Weston about, like, Jeff was like, you'll be at the beach. And I was like, well, someone should be, right? Someone has to be at the beach. It might as well be Weston. When you're at the beach, take a moment,
Totally.
Yeah, enjoy, read your book and enjoy the waves, whatever, but take a moment, take a few moments to be intentional about talking to the Lord. Like, he has put you in a position, and if it's not the beach, if it's your own backyard, you might have a crazy summer this summer. This may not be a time for R&R for you. These still apply. Even in the craziness of every day, you can pause
especially
a few seconds a day.
In the craziness. Yeah. Honestly.
Yeah.
I need it more when I'm
it.
busy.
Absolutely. I was thinking that's when Jesus needed it, when he was so overwhelmed by the crowds, when he was so overwhelmed by crucifixion. Well, I'm not comparing us to that. I'm just saying he had this deep, like, heaviness, and he needed those moments of solitude with his Father, and so do we.
Yeah. We do.
So engaging your senses is one that came to mind. Another, this one's just go with me.
Okay. We're going to go with you.
Humming?
Okay.
Yeah?
I like it.
So, I mean, turn on your music and sing or whatever it is you like, but literally humming can stimulate your vagus nerve, which activates this part of your nervous system that calms down fight or flight and activates rest and digest. So they say, like, okay, if you're going to hum, do it for a minute or 2 or 3 minutes, and feel the vibrations in your chest. Like, I think the thing that I keep coming back to is this is how God has created our bodies. This is how he has created our nervous systems. The world has done its work on them too. We do our own things to crash out, but there are things that are put in place too to help us calm those things. So, humming came to mind, which I always think of and then never do. But if you're bebopping around the house or you're bebopping to work or whatever,
humming helps.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, it's just one of those things. So, what are some other, like, did you think much of, like, okay, is there a thing that you could do?
Okay, so I tend to kind of be an all or nothing type of person.
Yeah.
Like when I'm like, oh, I can't live like this. I need to change everything.
Scrap it all, start over.
That doesn't work. That doesn't work.
But again, very relatable.
Yeah. So, I feel like a few years ago, because I was like that a few years ago, I really felt like, okay, I can't live at this pace anymore. I cannot do this anymore. And I remember God being very intentional to, like, I just remember the phrase, one thing at a time. Like, I wrote it on a sticky note and put it on my mirror in my bathroom. And so, actually, when this summer was coming around, I was really excited because I was like, okay, some things will pause and, like, we'll have, it's always just it's a slowed down pace and you can reset a little bit.
Totally.
And that phrase, I was like, one thing at a time. So, something that I added to my rhythms is just every night. And again, like, I'm always like idealist or perfectionist. That's what my therapist called me one time. So have you always known you're a perfectionist? I was like, I think you just told me. This is the first time I'm realizing this. No, I'm just
Define
kidding.
perfectionist.
Yeah.
So maybe. Yeah, maybe.
So anyway, I have that ideal in mind, but I forced myself just to, you're going to add writing in your journal every night, and it can just be one sentence.
Sure.
Doesn't have to be, here's everything that happened
Just
in my
do
day.
the thing.
Yeah.
It's a rhythm.
Just one
It doesn't have to
sentence
be
a day.
perfect.
One thing at a time.
Love it.
And
Forces you to slow down.
It does force me to slow down.
And it's different when you're
does.
writing versus like we think at the speed of light. We often talk at the speed of light.
Totally.
But when you're writing, you really do have to slow down.
Mm-hmm. And I used to journal a lot. And then I kind of stopped journaling, like, I don't even know, maybe a few years ago. And it's not like necessary, but that was just something that came to mind. Like, oh yeah, I used to love journaling. I should just bring that back every night. I'll journal. And I usually write out like a prayer or here's what I feel like you showed me today. And it does kind of make me, like, there literally have been days already where I've sat down and go, what did God teach me today? Or what did I talk to him about?
Was I engaged with him?
Yeah, how did I engage with him?
Sure.
So it's interesting because it's just reminded me like, oh yeah, this is important. Like, so that's just one thing. And I would say maybe that's something, don't try and change everything at once. You know what I mean? If you're planning on adopting new rhythms or you're thinking through changing things in your life or whatever the case may be, maybe just choose one thing and start small.
Yeah, we're not talking
journal,
about overhauling.
But I don't need to have in my mind that I'm going to have to write a whole page every single day.
Yeah.
Like, you can.
Isn't it
just
amazing how our brains go there, though?
Yeah.
Like, even when I journal, I'm like, what if, what archaeological find is this going to be someday that someone reads? Zero.
Yeah.
Not.
No.
It is. I totally agree with you. This is not necessarily about like overhauling everything. It's just like, where are some, and I always go back to that word, but where are some places where we can be intentional about that?
Yes.
And even if you choose to do, one of these things that we're talking about, just set yourself a 1-minute timer. Like start small. This is not about journaling or watching the birds taking over your life. We're not asking you to be a professional bird watcher or anything. This is just about like, are there some little ways you can sort of disengage with the franticness and engage for a few moments at a time with the calm that God has for you, the peace that God has for you, because it's all around us. And I think that it's, our world is just so fast paced.
It is.
If we don't hurry to keep up with it, we get we get left behind. But again, the summer tends to be a little, it's not for everyone, but it tends to be a little slower paced, and our schedules tend to change a little bit. Like this is total honesty and said with love. One of my favorite parts of summer is Jeff being home on Wednesday nights.
I know.
With love.
It is my favorite part,
I look forward to it all year, and the days are long, so we get to spend all this extra time together, which I love. And then, when the fall comes, it's time to jump back into that rhythm. But that's one of my favorite things is we just get that extra evening together, and I just soak it up every year, except for the weeks that he's at camp or other camp. But other than that,
all the camps.
Yeah. So again, we just want you to start thinking about like, are there some little places where I can take good care of myself? If there's places where you already take good care of yourself, good, do those things. And then, just think about like, are there little places where I can connect with the Lord over? I think a lot of times our connection with the Lord day to day are over very small things. A lot of times it's not huge life-changing circumstances. Sometimes it is. You might be in that position. If you're in that state, if you're ill, if you're fighting cancer, if something big is going on, if you're in the middle of your relationship falling apart or a child's sick or whatever it is, all the more set your intention to try the best that you can to get some rest, sleep at night, do the things that you can. Fuel your body during the day, drink some water, like take a second, especially as women. I'm sure you have all noticed the tendency to just go and go and go until we're fully poured out, dry cup, nothing left for anyone else, much less for ourselves. So do what you have to do to take some time to recharge. If you are in a pretty steady season of life, find the person that's going to watch your children while you go do whatever you want for a few hours.
Or be the person to watch
children. I have 2 friends that are trading off just once a month this summer because it's good for them to, to be able to go and just have nothing to do. You do all the things every day, all the time. It is not selfish. It is necessary to take some time. And, if you're in a different season of life, do that.
Yeah, I agree.
Take a little time out of the norm and do something that is just calming to you or enjoyable. Maybe it's something really fun that you want to do not everything is, one of the things that I did recently, I make choices, y'all. I bought a relatively inexpensive espresso machine and I've been making my own lattes.
Not good.
What a choice that's been. It's fine, but I'll have to make a different one this afternoon because this one turned out a little wild. But it's fun. I've had fun doing it. Yeah. And, that's probably, a little more expensive buying beans and all that. But, there's lots of things that I watch a plant lady online. And she uses, people use the concept of like, we have food at home. We're going to eat at home. She'll say, we have plants at home. So get a little propagation from one of your friends. If you want yourself a little plant to take care of or like clip one off the side of the road, not someone's yard. There's lots of ways you can, if you stand outside in whatever place you live in, there you are. What does it say? Wherever you're at, there you are. So deep. Anyway, just go outside and breathe some air, and God gives us those opportunities, and let's take them. And
I do actually a rhythm that I like to have it year round, but it gets dark, so I can't do it year round all the time. But in the summer, especially once I put my girls to bed, the sun's still up. So I like to go on a walk in the evenings around my house, our neighborhood. That's very small, but it is actually it's very huge.
Intentional though. A lot of
it keeps me way healthier than I probably even know. Mentally, physically, I was gonna say, emotionally.
Just like a calm walk, not like a workout, is so good for your nervous system. So good, especially in nature.
It's like almost instant that I feel so much better, lighter. And that's small, but it's like really.
Well, it's not though.
I miss it in the months where it gets dark, like at 5 o'clock.
Early.
Yeah,
that's
and
true.
And I don't feel comfortable walking when it's dark, so I'm like. I could do something in my garage. It's not the same.
It's not the same. This time of year is really where it's at.
It's really
right?
special. Yeah.
And that's a good example of like if you find a thing that feels like a small thing, but it makes you feel like good in your nervous system.
Totally.
That's not like something the Bible rejects entirely. we're filtering this through a lens, right, on purpose. The things that God has said are good for us, and the things that He said are not good for us are not good for us.
Are still not good for us.
It's not about Him being stingy. It's about them not being good for us. So, but the fact that you feel that way and you know that that's true makes it something that you want to do when you can because it's so it brings you that peace.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking for, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I can't do it. I don't do it every day. Like that's the thing. I try and I want to, but even when I don't, it's okay.
I mean, on average, if you do it a few days a week, that's a lot more than zero.
I know.
And it's great. Clearly it works well for you and you enjoy it. Like those are the things where those are the things we're talking about. If it's watching the birds for a few minutes and you just get a little pleasure out of that and you just get a little peace and calm out of that, like, yeah. I told Jeff the other day, are we like buy a bird camera age yet? Financially, apparently, the answer is no.
Okay.
I think
you totally
yes
could.
to the age.
Yeah.
I think yes to that part, but we have a few little tiny trees we planted in the backyard. We'll see if we can make some bird loveliness in the next few years. But
yeah, cool.
So just some ideas. Think of your own. You know what your life is. You know what brings you that little spark of fun and joy that isn't harmful to anyone else, like talking to your plants or whatever it is. Oh, I don't talk to my plants, but I always feel like maybe I should try.
Talk to your plants.
I talk to the dog, but
you don't talk to them like when you're watering them, like, oh, you're looking good. None of that.
None of them probably deserve that. They sometimes I'll be like, we could try a little harder. I'm supposed to babysit some plants for our friend who's moving, and I'm like, okay, maybe I can be a little more intentional if I know there's like she's going to come back for these plants. She, it probably wants them to be alive. It's fine. It's fine. They're already established. It'll be okay. But again, those little, like, I don't know, just some days I'm tooling around my house because that's what I do. And I'm like, okay, there is spiritual rhythm in the little, I don't always want to be at the sink washing the dishes at the end of the day. And often I'm not. But if I am, and it's a little if it's one of those little rhythms, there's a difference between me doing it in a cranky way and me doing it in a way where I talk to the Lord and say, thank you for a home where, we eat together and we have that fellowship with one another. We have food to put on the table. Like, that's not a guarantee. So there are a lot of places that we have to be thankful to, and, gratitude is a huge, very huge in the mental health field, because we're not guaranteed all these things. They're blessings. So
that's good.
There's things for us to be grateful for too. So
did you have any other thoughts on that?
I will say, here's my very specific idea. I do this thing where I'm like, I'm going to go outside, right? In the sun. Because it's good for you, vitamin D, whatever. But then also wear your sunscreen, right? But then it's like 1,000,000 degrees, and I'm like, yes, I hated this idea.
This is the worst.
What a bad idea. So, just again, we're not trying to like force a square peg into a round hole here. But maybe it's in the morning. If you're like me and the heat is just intolerable, maybe in the morning you sit outside for a few minutes.
Or evening. Yeah,
when it's a little less stifling. Or like sit near a window. Just, you do what works for you. We're not trying to add to the checklist of like, oh, I have to get my sunlight today and I have to make the latte at home. No, if it stresses you out, we're missing the point.
Yeah.
So,
and that's where I think that concept of one thing at a time really helps. Like, I think people call it like micro habits or something like that.
Interesting.
And it like
Makes
compounds.
Sense. Okay.
But you have to start small. If you try to go, okay, my day's going to go da, 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 and your day has not gone like that ever, it's going to probably
Never once in your whole life.
Right. So you have to start somewhere.
Absolutely.
You have to start somewhere.
And even the thought of like knowing that I'm starting a habit so that I can build other habits on top of it makes me want to gag. So
yeah, I know. I feel the same way.
So also this summer might just be like, oh, I'm going to do a thing when I feel like it, or I'm going to do one thing because I enjoy it and none of those other things. Like if things are already the way you feel like they should be, just keep doing what you're doing too. Like you don't have to add anything or take anything away. I remember, I like this concept of like just adding something that's helpful to you instead of, I feel like we do so much of like, oh, I really need to get rid of this out of my life. And I'm not saying you don't, but we get so much of that, especially from a spiritual perspective, that sometimes adding something in. I remember doing like the green smoothies back in the day, probably the number one contributor to a number of kidney stones for me throughout the years, but it's okay. We live and learn. But I remember the company that I was following, it was years ago, like probably 15 years ago. And they were like, don't like take things out of your diet, add good things in. Mm-hmm. They're good for you. They have, like vegetables and fruits, they're good for you. So just add some in. Stop restricting everything and add something good in. And that has stuck with me so much.
Yeah.
In so many ways over the years. I talk about it in therapy sometimes. I'm like, it's so easy for us to go, well, I have this bad habit or whatever it is and like try to take it away. And again, maybe you do have those things. Okay. But also it's okay for us to add things in sometimes that just are good for us. So I think that can be a little more palatable sometimes.
Yeah.
And again, for the summer, we're just trying to take care of ourselves in the way that, God gave us bodies and minds and spirits and souls. Like those are things that we're meant to nourish and take care of. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Exactly. So that's all.
Okay. Any other thoughts on your notes here?
I don't know. I think
missed?
I said I was I left off on humming. Everyone's going to come up and hum at me.
You did leave off on humming.
If they see me, they're going to, and they have, if you have seen this episode and you hum at me, I'll know that you watched it.
That's true. Or listened.
That's right. So we're planning, kind of a mini series for the summer. So we'll be getting to those probably in the next few months. And then we have some more interviews coming up. So with staff, women staff, women folk on the staff.
Yeah, and we have had women send in from our newsletter the link to send in a name for people for us to interview.
Oh, good.
We have had some of those, and we will get to them.
Yeah.
We've already planned out the staff women because that was our first.
We wanted to get that out there.
Yeah.
So yay.
Yeah.
It's
so
exciting.
We'll get there eventually, but I just want you guys to know we have seen your requests for interviews, and they're on the list. But
they're on deck.
We're finishing out staff women first.
Yeah, absolutely. So that I feel like the summer is going to go fast.
I know. I'm sad June's almost here.
I'm
like, where did May go?
I guess that's just how it is. As you get older, it's just faster and faster. But we love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Yep.
I know this one was, again, this was really very much off the top of our head. So, but we love you, and we'll catch up with you.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
This summer.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself. Maybe just add one new thing. And it can be anything. Doesn't have to be anything that we just said.
Yeah.
It's probably already on the top of your head. So just grab it,
whatever you're
pull it
thinking
down,
of,
and implement it.
Just filter that through, the spiritual lens, and then
totally
go for it.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see you soon.
Yeah. Love you guys.
Love you. Bye-bye.